Wagwan, how you do? Welcome. Today is International Day of Peace, which is being celebrated under the theme Actions for Peace, our ambition for the hashtag global goals. Let us as best as possible choose to live by this mantra, worded perfectly in this solemn song. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. On the program today, we help you to understand the process of being qualified to offer your services to the government through the public procurement system. Plus, we give you a few tips to parent your toddler. I'm Adrian Atkinson, and this is Jamaica Magazine. We start right now.
Hey boy, move out of my way, man. May I get my lunch before you, Both of them at the front of the line.
Yes, there are times when other students will try to get you out of your peaceful state. They will say something that will trigger you. They will cut in front of the line at lunch or wherever you are, and that will get you upset. But remember, you have control over your reaction to what happens to you. You have no control over what other people will do. Peace Day in schools must act as a conduit to inspire young people to become the driving force behind the vision for a united and sustainable Jamaica. Teaching our children about peace isn't just talking about war and conflict. Peace is about kindness, fairness, inner peace, respect for the environment, and so much more. Thoughts, words, gestures of unanimity create a mentality and a culture of peace and a respectful, honest, and cordial atmosphere. No place more that we'd like to see peace than in our schools.
People dying, if we care enough for living, make a better place for you and for me.
Good day, I'm Theodore Henry, and this is your JIS News for Thursday, September 21, 2023. Prime Minister Andrew Holness says the government is paying close attention to an increase in the distribution of fentanyl and other synthetic drugs in North America that could easily make its way to Jamaica. Mr. Holness says while synthetic drugs are not the dominant modality in the country, the production and trafficking of synthetic drugs like Molly and ecstasy have risen significantly in recent times on the island.
Since the start of this year, there have been 2 seizures of methylene dioxymethamphetamines originating from the US and the Netherlands. And we have had 4 such seizures in 2022.
Another worrying trend, Prime Minister Holness says, is the increased production of cocaine in Colombia, as well as an increase in the seizure of the substance in Jamaica.
It is therefore likely that as cocaine production surges, Jamaica may experience a rise in efforts to traffic the illicit substance to and through our ports.
Government, in partnership with the U.S. Drug Enforcement Administration, has been stemming the flow of drugs into the island. In January this year, the Narcotics Division of the police force seized 1.5 tons of cocaine. And in 2022, $3.8 million along with 500 kilograms of cocaine were confiscated, 5 provisional arrests were made, as well as warrants and extradition requests initiated. Mr. Holness says significant investments have been made in the high-tech surveillance, monitoring equipment, and the interdiction capacity of the Jamaica Defense Forces Maritime, Air, and Cyber Command. He disclosed that the unit has had, over the last 3 years, 13 interdictions, seized 3.4 kilograms of cocaine and over 8,000 pounds of marijuana with a combined street value of $95 million.
As the investment in Jamaica's complete maritime domain awareness continues, the use of our waterways will become less attractive to transnational criminals.
Prime Minister Holness was addressing Tuesday's opening of the 37th International Drug Enforcement Conference, IDEC. More than 900 delegates representing 139 countries are attending the three-day conference to discuss and collaborate on issues related to drug enforcement and the global drug trade. A steering committee has been established to drive the reform of the Program of Advancement through Health and Education, PATH. The committee will review recommendations and is supported by two technical working groups. One of the groups will review the technical design of PATH, including the selection criteria and benefit levels. The other will review the general rules of the program, including the conditionalities and criteria for continued eligibility. Minister of Labour and Social Security Pernell Charles Jr. outlined the reform of PATH while addressing Parliament on Tuesday.
The members will include representatives from across government, the Ministries of Labour and Social Security, Health and Wellness, Education and Youth, Local Government and Rural Development, and others, PIOJ, and also the members of the technical working groups.
Minister Charles Jr. said timely updates and reports on the progress of the reform will be provided to Cabinet and Parliament. The revamped PATH program will place a renewed emphasis on education. It will include increased support for school attendance, access to quality educational resources, and vocational training. The overall objective is to break the cycle of poverty through knowledge and skill development. Meanwhile, Minister Charles Jr. said the ministry will carry out a series of public consultations on the reform of the PATH program.
And they will take the format of town hall meetings to provide an opportunity for all Jamaicans, first of which will be held by the end of October, and we'll give details to follow in short order.
Major investments are being undertaken by the government to improve water infrastructure that will broaden the distribution network and build the country's resilience. Among the projects are the build-out of irrigation capacity, installation of storage tanks at the community level, upgrading of 100 pumping stations, and the development of the Mahogany Vale Dam project. Minister with responsibility for water, Senator Matthew Samuda, gave the update Wednesday during a virtual presentation at Jamaica Institute of Engineers Summit. Mr. Samuda adds that the implementation of the non-revenue water program has been a critical component of managing the precious commodity.
In 2015, Kingston and St. Andrews non-revenue water score, which is the water that's leaked or stolen, was upwards of 70%. It was in the range of 72%. As of now, we're happy to report that we've cut that figure down to 38%. In essence, we're pumping significantly less water into the ground. Now, that is one of the major elements of resilience.
Senator Samuda said the non-revenue water program is ongoing in Portmore, St. Catherine.
We're currently out to tender for a national non-revenue water partner. This is done as a PPP. It is a major investment in our infrastructure. It increases storage, it revitalizes your distribution network, it installs pressure monitoring gauges, and it also changes the meters at the household level. This has given us significant success in reduction in damages, reduction in wasted water, reduction in electricity bills. So your non-revenue water program is priority number one.
9 members of the judiciary were sworn into higher office for the Michaelmas term, which runs from September 25 to December 20. They are filling in for judges who are going off on leave. Justices Kisok Leng and Georgiana Fraser will act as judges of appeal, while Stephanie Orr, Pamela Mason, Opal Smith, Tracy Ann Johnson, Sharon Millwood Moore have been appointed as acting puisne judges. Serving as masters in chambers are Luciana Jackson and Christine McNeil. As he congratulated the appointees, Governor General His Excellency Sir Patrick Allen expressed confidence in their ability to perform well, noting that their appointment and reappointment are testament of their contributions to the justice system.
Congratulations to each one of you, and I wish you a very successful term in your respective positions. We know you have done well over the past whenever you act, and we are confident that you will do equally well during this term.
It is an immense honor and a privilege for us to be given the opportunity of serving the country in our respective positions.
In his remarks, Chief Justice Honorable Brian Sykes said the appointees have been selected based on their problem-solving skills, commitment to hard work, and excellence.
We are moving to the stage now where we are going to be more open with the process of judicial selection. So we have crafted job definitions for the Chief Justice. President of the Court of Appeal has done his. We have done doing it for the masters. We have done it for the Supreme Court judges. And why is this important? Because you are selecting persons to do a job. You are not selecting qualifications. Qualifications don't do the job. It's people who do the job.
Meanwhile, Chief Justice Brian Sykes says the parish courts are now officially declared free of backlog cases. Mr. Sykes said the achievement comes 2 years ahead of schedule. He pointed out that active caseload within the parish courts is now below 3%, which exceeds the international standard by 2%.
There are no other courts in the region, not in the Caribbean, not in Central America, not in South America, that have achieved that for courts at that level. And so that has placed us in a position now to revise the time standard downwards.
The Chief Justice said 6 years of data indicate that 77% of cases in the parish courts are disposed of in less than 12 months, and the aim is to get it down to 9 months. Meanwhile, Mr. Sykes said there continues to be a reduction in the backlog of cases in the Court of Appeal and Supreme Court.
The Court of Appeal is now clearing its backlog since it is disposing of more cases than cases coming in. And so the Supreme Court is becoming more efficient at a 52% improvement last year. And so the judges who are here are expected to continue that trend and so take us to the finish line, which is a backlog-free Supreme Court. So we are just about 29% off from where we need to be.
And finally, Minister of Labour and Social Security Pernell Charles Jr. is appealing for persons to be more courteous, compassionate and supportive of senior citizens. He made the call at the launch of Senior Citizens Week on Tuesday. Minister Charles says a good place to start is by being more accepting of elderly family members. He shared that his ministry is working to strengthen and deliver effective social protective services, particularly to seniors.
At the same time, we are improving our processes and innovating to provide world-class service to improve the quality of life for our seniors. As we celebrate this month, we also look on what the international community has to say. The United Nations declared the period between 2021 and 2030 to be the decade of healthy aging. And this global collaboration is aligned with the last 10 years of what we call the SDGs, the Sustainable Development Goals, to improve the lives of older people, their families, and their communities in which they live.
Senior Citizens Month is being observed under the theme, Embracing Wisdom, Uniting Generations. And that's it for JIS News Today. I'm Theodore Henry. Thanks for watching.
Why war? Why killing? God made us all to love each other. Why stray from the word of God? Remember, we are our brother's keeper. Let us stop and reflect that God is love and erase the war and the killing from our minds. Our fathers and our mothers, our brothers and our sisters, our seniors are all getting frustrated from the sound of the guns. When is this painful phenomenon going to stop? Is it a disease that is taking root in our land? Let us kneel together and ask our Creator to grant us that loving word, peace.
The Ministry of Finance and the Public Service explains the public procurement system and how persons can be qualified to offer services or products to the government.
Did you know the government spends over $2 billion each year on goods and services? But how much of it is pumped into Jamaican businesses? Under the Public Procurement Act 2015, your business can be contracted by the government to offer goods and services. Whether you own a construction or electrical company, a clothing store, or even a restaurant, you can easily qualify once the service is requested. Hi, I'm Shaquille Rochester Shorter and welcome to Finance Matters. Today I will be speaking with Mr. Andre Bennett, Chief Public Procurement Policy Officer here at the Ministry about how your business can be procured by the government. Remember to like, share and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Follow the Ministry of Finance on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter and LinkedIn to see all the episodes and highlights. Thank you for joining the show, Mr. Bennett, and welcome. First thing, tell us what is public procurement?
Thanks, Shaquille. Well, public procurement, and you sort of alluded to it in your introduction. The government has a whole range of responsibilities. The government has to supply gases, medical gases to hospitals and provide catering for those who are sick and prisoners and people in school. The government has to build roads and build buildings and so on. And so a good way of thinking about it is the government has maybe one of two choices. Either it could employ all the people and establish factories to do all of that itself, or it could buy those goods, works or services from people who already do them and do them well. Public procurement then describes government's activity of acquiring goods, works and services from the economic market. It's really economic activity.
So, say for example, I know a Miss Patsy that procures or she makes masks and the government wants to buy masks. How would the government go about doing that?
Okay. Well, first of all, the government, having determined that it needs some masks, would do some homework. It will figure out what kind of masks it needs, the quantities, and how many people are there that can supply these masks. That's called market research.
Okay.
And it's done in the first part of procurement. And then the government would publish broadly, depending on the circumstances, and we can get into that, the requirements for these masks. It would say we need X number of masks, and these are the kinds of masks we need, and here's how you can go about getting these masks to us. You must complete a bid form, and we'll give all those forms to you.
What is a bid form?
These are formal offer and acceptance documents that are contained in what you call SBDs, or people call them RFPs, all sorts of convoluted acronyms, right? But just know that what it is government asks you to give a formal offer written in a particular format and standard. And then the government will assess or evaluate your offer and will make a contract award to the firm, business, company that promises to deliver the best masks at the best price.
Okay, awesome. So where and how the government advertise these tenders that are available?
Again, subject to some requirements in terms of different methods. Ordinarily, contracts that are offered for competitive bidding, that is where plenty people and anybody, there's no restriction, will get an opportunity to make an offer to the government. These are published in the newspapers in Jamaica.
So Jamaican Observer and Jamaican
That's right,
Gleaner.
on Tuesdays and Saturdays.
Okay.
And increasingly, And certainly in most cases, there's also a publication on the Government of Jamaica's electronic procurement portal, affectionately called GoJep.
Well, tell us about that portal.
Great. So GoJep is an electronic tool that connects businesses with government in a really seamless and efficient way. And so what it does, it handles all of the processes associated with soliciting offers. That's when the government publishes the call for the offers. It accepts and receives the offers. So no longer do people have to run to drop bids into a bid box, right? Now it's done online.
More efficient.
It's extremely efficient. You can be anywhere in the world and submit the offer. The portal also helps with the evaluation of the offers and the publication of the contract award notices. That's GoJep. It's secure, it's transparent, it's accessible, and it's really, really easy to use.
How do I use the portal? I'm not aware. Walk me through using the portal.
Right. So the first thing you have to do, you go to the portal www.gojep.gov.jm, and you must register as a supplier.
Okay.
You must create a profile, tell us who you are and a bit about your business. And then you will navigate to the place where all the competition notices are located.
Okay.
And it's easy to find it because it says competition.
Okay.
Right? And you can there see all the relevant competitions. You will click on them and then you can access the contract documents, which will have the bidding document included. I know these words sound weird, but the more you get used to them, and you can tell Miss Patsy that the more she gets used to them, the easier it will be. And once she gets there, she can read the government's requirements. And then the documents will explain what she must do to submit her offer. So she must submit Form A, Form B, Form C, and Form D.
Okay.
And then also, ordinarily, she will have to submit proof that she is compliant in respect of her payment of taxes, and she's registered with the Public Procurement Commission.
Okay. Is there training available for a said person like Ms. Patsy? Would there be training?
Absolutely. So the Office of Public Procurement Policy, which I have the privilege to lead, has constant supplier and procuring entity training opportunities. What you need to do is contact us, and we will arrange something
Some training
for you. Yeah,
okay.
And we also offer hand-holding sessions where in live bids we will give you assistance in uploading your offer as a supplier to government, and we will help you to diagnose issues that arise.
So you'd walk Miss Patsy and myself and any Jamaican who is interested in, being
a supplier. Absolutely.
Yes, in being a supplier.
Yes,
Thank you.
yes.
All right. So where can we find more information?
Well, you can find information about GoJep on the same website, www.gojep.gov.jm. But in general about public procurement in Jamaica, you can also find information on our website, which is www.procureja.gov.jm. It's a fantastic tool. It has a whole host of resources for both procuring entities and for suppliers. And we're going to keep putting more resources on it to make sure that the process of contracting with the government gets easier and easier and more efficient.
Well, thank you, Mr. Bennett, for coming on our show today and telling us all about the Office of the Public Procurement Policy. And thank you for joining us on this episode of Finance Matters. Remember to follow us on social media at MOF Jamaica and tune in next week as we continue to demystify the economic and fiscal policies and initiatives implemented by the government to empower Jamaicans as we chart a path to Jamaica's economic prosperity.
All children deserve positive parenting. Why not pamper us? Be patient with us. Make time to teach us and, of course, play with us. Celebrate milestones with us and don't forget to be our #1 supporter. Do all these things and practice positive parenting today.
No matter how well you prepare, you will never have all the answers. Mom, Dad, just take a deep breath. Parenting isn't one size fits all, especially when it comes to toddlers. You are developing alongside your child, so there is no need to feel guilty about dropping old habits and embracing new ones. Try these techniques with your little one to make the most of your time together.
Very frustrating, and a lot of times people don't feel like they really have an answer to everything, and the truth is that that is the reality. But there are different things that people can try. We're not saying that any one thing works for everybody or that you'll even get the outcome that you want immediately. Especially when you're dealing with young children, you might have to try something several times before you see a particular result. So for example, if it is that you want a child to learn the difference between right and wrong, a lot of times in the past we use pain to teach that this is wrong, right? But we find that ultimately when you hit a child, what you're teaching them to do is when I don't like something, I should hit and I should lash out. What you want to try in a situation like that, you can try removing privileges. If there are things that the child might love to do, or even the age-old timeout, you know, where you say, listen, for this period, you have to sit by yourself, there's no communication, there's no talking, sit down and be still. Sometimes you have to physically just hold your child and help them to breathe through it, because you have some children where they have so much emotion and so much anger and they want to get it out that it's really difficult for them to regulate it at such a young age. And so you have to physically hold them, put your hand on them, help them to breathe through it until they're calm. And with children, even if they don't understand necessarily the big concepts of right and wrong, they can sometimes understand tone, right? And tone is not the same thing as lashing out and using certain words and calling them different names. Tone is being firm and saying, I do not want you on this. So for example, if a child keeps going off on something, you might have to take them off it 10 times, right? And continue to reinforce with the same tone and consistency that you do not want them on this. And also for younger children, sometimes you have to be the one to remove whatever it is that you don't want them to interact with from the environment, right? Because they're so young and so impulsive, you can't necessarily leave it to them to understand I shouldn't touch this thing, right? So that's how we deal with the younger children.
Mosquitoes will breed in containers that hold water. Tightly cover water storage containers such as drums, buckets, and tanks, or cover the water surface with cooking oil. Punch holes in all tins, plastic containers, and boxes to prevent the collection of water before disposal. Cover old tires or fill with dirt. Scrub all vases once per week to remove mosquito eggs, and dispose of garbage by placing in plastic bags. Do your part to prevent mosquito breeding. A message from the Ministry of Health.
We've come to the end of today's program, but if you missed any of it or just want to rewatch, visit our website, gis.gov.jm. From the production team here at the GIS, thank you so much for watching. I'm Adrian Atkinson. Until next time, walk good.
This has been a production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.